welcome to the Northern Counties East League podcast. I'm Richard Watts. I'm now joined by League General Manager Matt Jones.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Northern Counties East League podcast. We're going to start this weekend slightly out of the ordinary. I'm going to comment on the game I was at on Saturday. I ummed and ahed of where to go, and I picked in the NCEL Town versus Wakefield AFC. The game finished 1-1, pretty unremarkable game for the footballing side of things, but it'll be remembered because there were 7 red cards issued during the game, and 6 of those were for the home team Selby Town and 1 for the visitors from Wakefield. And it sounds daft, but it wasn't a particularly dirty game either. I've got in my car after the game and thought that really wasn't much worse than the normal sort of Northern Counties East League game. Bit feisty at times, but it was just incredible, the train of events. Selby had 6 off, including 2 from the dugout. The manager and assistant manager both got the marching orders. And with all these players missing, Wakefield had 1 off as well, but they were down to 10. It was 1-0 to Selby, and Wakefield were peppering the goal. They were throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Selby. It just looked like the reduced number of Selby were going to hang on and claim all 3 points. We get into the last minute. Wakefield are awarded a penalty. Man of the match, clearly the Selby goalkeeper, gentleman Liam Wilson, who was awarded man of the match at the ground, actually made a string of fine saves. Wakefield get a penalty, finally think it's the equaliser going, and he saves the penalty as well. You think, oh God, with all these players off, but they're going to get 3 points. Fantastic effort from Selby. We get into injury time, and there's another penalty for Wakefield. And this time it was for deliberate handball. The goalie was beaten for once, and one of the Selby players dived to the left and pushed it around the post with his hand. So off he went as well. And in about the 94th, 95th minute, Wakefield converted the second penalty of the game, so it finished 1-1. Not a classic in footballing terms, but people were absolutely buzzing at the end as we were leaving the ground. The comments, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. And it was just a really, really strange day, but very enjoyable. I think that if people remember about 18 months ago, we had a playoff game between Rossington and Horbury, and that saw 5 red cards from 1 incident. And I thought that would never be beaten, but Saturday 7. I'm pretty sure that I'll never see that again. So we'll see. There were plenty of goals at the weekend all over the Northern Counties East League again, providing great entertainment for people. In 10 games in the Premier Division, we saw 33 goals. In 10 games in Division 1, including the one on Friday night, we saw 43 goals. 20 games, 76 goals, an average of 3.8 goals per game over the weekend. And that's pretty much ties in with the average for the season. The Premier Division averaging 3.76 goals a game, and slightly lower in Division 1, where the average is 3.56. I think that statistic much higher in terms of goals scored than anything in the Premier League or the Football League or anything like that. Standout results from the weekend. Albion Sports continuing their impressive climb up the table. A 4-1 win at Hallam. Hallam themselves been in really good form recently, so incredible effort there from Albion. An excellent 1-0 win for Tadcaster Albion, who went to league leaders Penistone Church and came away with the points. Pickering Town, who beat Campion 3-1. And I've picked out Handsworth, who went to Rossington Main, not far apart, those two teams, Doncaster, Sheffield. Bit of a derby game, and a cracking 3-2 win for the visitors with a hat-trick by Ollie Fearon. In Division 1, Harrogate Railway Athletic went to Brigtown and won 3-0. Glassheart and Welfare, they're enjoying a much better start than they had last season, a much more comfortable position in the league. They went to Club Thorn Colliery and won 2-1. And if you want goals, we've talked about how many goals there were. There were 8 goals at Maltby Main as they beat Worsbridge Athletic 6-2. In the Premier League, Albion Sports now 7 games unbeaten, up to 3rd in the league, while at the other end, Gould have gone 6 games without a win. In Division 1, Horbury Town have won the last 5 games, and we've talked about the average number of goals being so high, but I think Horbury's good run of form is down to the defence as well, because they've kept 7 clean sheets in their 12 league games so far. Clean sheets at this level are quite a rarity. Appleby Frodingham, now 11 games without a win down at the other end of the table, and Yorkshire Amateur 10 games without a win. We've mentioned these two teams before. Neither side has won a league game since the first game of the season back on July the 27th. So, due a win, both of those. We've only got one unbeaten team across the whole of the Northern Counties East League now, and that's Wombwell Town. They remain unbeaten after 11 games, 9 wins and 2 draws from their opening 11. Fantastic effort from them. And we've only got one side across both divisions who are still looking for their first win, and that's Bridge Athletic. It's not all doom and gloom because of the 9 games they've recorded 4 draws and 5 defeats. So they're not pointless, but they're still looking for that elusive first win. And one crazy thing I've noticed, I think, from the league table at the moment is Parkgate, promoted to the Premier Division this year. They've played 12 games. They've got 6 wins, 6 defeats. They're 6th in the league. I think to have 6 defeats after 12 games and be 6th in the table is quite a surprise, because normally the team that wins the league only loses 6 all season. So it's all the 6s for Parkgate.
Welcome to Seasons Past with Libby Edwards. In this episode, I'm looking back to the 2003-2004 season. The Premier Division contained the 18 teams from the previous season, plus promoted Mickle Over Sports and Eastwood Town, who were relegated from the Northern Premier League. The league was won by Ossett Albion, who won 22 and drew 10 of their 38 games, finishing with 76 points. They also won 5-0 at home to Hallam and 6-0 at Mickle Over Sports. Eastwood Town finished second. They won 23 and drew 7, finishing, like Ossett, on 76 points. Their goal difference was the same as Ossett, who took the title on goals scored. In third place were Brigg Town, who finished on 71 points. Broadsworth Miners Welfare finished bottom. Second bottom were Borough Wash Victoria, and third bottom Arnold Town. Newcomers to Division 1 were Carlton Town, South Normanton Athletic, and Sutton Town, who were promoted from the Central Midlands. The league was won by Shirebrook Town. They finished on 71 points, with 22 wins and 5 draws. Runners-up were Long Eaton United. They won 22 and drew 2, finishing on 68 points. In third place were Maltby Main, who finished on 67 points. In the 18-team First Division, Tadcaster Albion finished bottom. Biggest home win of the season was Buxton's 6-1 win against Eccleshill United. Biggest away was Ossett's 6-0 win at Mickle Over. The League Cup was won by Hallam. In the final played at Buxton, they beat Mickle Over Sports 1-0. Beaten semi-finalists were Glass How Ton Welfare and Brigg Town. The President's Cup was won by Eastwood Town, who defeated Thackley 5-0 on aggregate. In the FA Cup, Buxton and Ossett Albion made the 4th qualifying round. Buxton beat Gresley, Biddulph, Belper and Radcliffe before losing to Burton Albion. Ossett beat Alnwick, Ulsagar, Ossett Town, Pickering Town and Newcastle Town, before losing to Stalybridge Celtic. Eastwood Town made it to the 6th round in the FA Vase. They beat Ludlow, Spalding, Jarrow Roofing, St Blaise and Stone Dominoes before going down to Clone after a replay. Gelding Town made it to the 4th round.
Welcome to NCEL Talk. We haven't got Aaron this week. He can't be there, so I'll keep his seat warm this week. And we'll get underway looking at last Saturday. I think there's only one place we can start. We'll have to go to Division 1 and Selby 1, Wakefield 1. So I'll hand over to Si for the rest of the programme, I think.
Well, it's a 1-1 scoreline. You'd think it was a very uninteresting match, wouldn't you? But yeah, the referee definitely took centre stage on this one. I saw Matt Jones's comment online that in these years of doing the NCL, he's never seen a game where we've had 7 red cards in one game. Obviously, as I'll come to, not all of those were for players. But yeah, there was a litany of red cards in that one. First of all, we were actually the first team to get the red card. Our left back was fouled, but then aimed, I think it was a knee towards the player while he was down, the player that that had fouled him and reliably informed there was no contact made. But you're still giving a referee a decision to make, and even if it's intent, it's a red card, isn't it? It doesn't matter whether contact's made or not.
Yeah.
So we were the first ones to get a red card. Then before the end of the half, they equaled the red card score by fouling one of our players who was through on goal. I've seen that Selby have argued that they didn't think he was the last man, but it looked like it from my angle. But I'm always going to be a little bit biased towards my team, as I'm sure anyone is. So then that was 10-all for players. In the second half, a player was dismissed for a second yellow card. I think it was for dissent, but it was already on a yellow, so then he got one. Then we got into the 90 minutes. We were 1-0 down by this stage, and it looked like it wasn't going to be our day at all. And into the 90 minutes, the only real questionable decision for me, for the referee, was this one. He awarded us a penalty. Our player were on the right-hand side of the box, sort of shaped on his left foot to cross it in, and it struck a player's arm from Selby who was on the cusp of the box, maybe in, maybe out, but right on the line. And his arm was still quite low. It wasn't really extended, so I was quite surprised that was given. And then we missed that penalty. So we got a penalty and missed it. Only for then to go for a corner. When the corner came back in, that was cleared out, and we had a shot which was going in, but one of their players handled on the line. So that was another red card and another penalty. Different player steps up and tucks it away for us. And we get the 1-1 draw and thinking that's going to be the end of the drama, but the referee wasn't finished yet. And this is probably where Selby would feel they were aggrieved by this, and I think anyone whose team it would think that. And from our point, you're quite sort of thinking it wasn't right. They started kicking balls onto the field to get the referee to stop play while we had the ball. And the first time they did that, he sent off the manager. Then I think it was the assistant manager argued that it wasn't him that did it, and he got sent off. And then he sent off another player, because it was a red T-shirt with a yellow bib on, so I think it was a player that had either come off already or was one of the substitutes, to make it up to 7 red cards. And even after that, when we got an attack down the other end of the field, they still kicked a ball onto the field all the way from the dugout into the penalty area, and he didn't even stop the player with that one. I think the ref had just given up on trying to control it after that point. Yeah, I dare say the referee probably had some strong words from the Selby side after that game. But looking at them individually, there weren't that many wrong decisions. Over the course of the game, he probably had a fair game. But then again, if you're the aggrieved side, you're never going to feel that, are you? So it was a very, very entertaining game, really, but for a 1-1 draw anyway.
I bet you couldn't believe it when you got a penalty and it was saved.
No, because you kind of think you've got back into it at that point. But then immediately getting another one as well. Yeah, because it was literally a minute later, because it was the corner from the first penalty,
right,
that had been cleared, and then the shot was saved on the line, but not by a goalkeeper. So yeah,
I don't know if anybody else has got experience of big high number sendings off. I had a quick look at a bit of Google. Apparently, there's a game. The world record is apparently in Argentina, where there was 36 dismissed in a game. Everyone from both teams plus officials all got red cards. And I found a couple of Football League games in 1997 when 5 went, but I've not heard of anything bigger. I don't know. I certainly don't know of anything.
Most I've had were 4 in playoff final with Rosso and Aubrey a couple of seasons ago, but nothing like 7.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of them obviously thought two of them were management or coaching team. I mean, and some of those, the identity of some of those, I will just say as well, that was second-hand information to me. I didn't actually see it was the manager and the assistant that was passed on to me. So if I have anyone's identity that was sent off wrong, my apologies. But that was the information I sort of mixture of what I saw and what I was told on the day. But yeah, just absolute madness.
I bet it was a headache for whoever wrote the match report, trying to keep up track with all that.
Well, obviously, I do my podcast for our fan site as well, and that was probably one of the longest ones that I've done just on one game alone because there was just so much to cover for it. And it took me about. I mean, I give you a very abridged version there. It took me about 20 minutes to do that one.
Well, there was 280 souls there, so they definitely got the money's worth that afternoon.
Yeah, good big crowd as well.
Good crowd. Yeah.
I dare say by the end, not all of them will have gone home happy.
No, definitely.
Was it a good game before that, up to all the incidents? Had it been a decent game, or?
I'd say it was a bit scrappy. Not as in like a fight. Not obviously with red cards it sounds scrappy, but scrappy in the sense that it was just a bit bitty. There wasn't really a lot of flow to either side's football, and the more obviously that cards came out, or once teams went down to 10 men and what have you, then I think Selby they were a goal up and sat back quite a bit to protect a lead. We were struggling to break them down. They'd try and catch us on the counter attack. The second half in particular was fairly poor, and it just seemed to be petering out to a 1-0 loss for us. And at 90 minutes, you don't think you're going to get all the drama after that.
No, too right. I noticed that just jumping ahead to midweek, that Selby were leading 2-0 at Wombwell when it was abandoned on 78 minutes due to an injury.
Yeah, we were discussing on aggregate what would happen with that. Does that get replayed then? Do you think if it's abandoned?
I would imagine it would do because after 80 minutes, wasn't it? It was still 10 minutes to go, so I would imagine it will be replayed.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if there was like a cut off or at what point they'd say, "Oh, well, it was you were leading 2-0, we'll call it that." If it was even in 90 minutes, would it still be have to be replayed? Because if it's abandoned, it's got to be replayed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think maybe if they got as far as the 90th minute, it would stand. But I don't know, but I would have thought 78 would be too early for it to stand. But see what they do. But they're Wombwell unbeaten, so it would have been their first defeat.
Yeah.
And a good but I understand the Wombwell players had an operation or going into operation. I was reading on the Wombwell site, so I hope everything goes all right. Because dislocated his collarbone. I think that's what there was. That was the injury.
Yeah, and they couldn't get an ambulance. I was looking at some of the sort of statements and sort of the feedback from it, and I think they were trying to get an ambulance out fairly quick and what have you, and that never materialized. I think he had to be driven to hospital in the end.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's right, Si. Yeah, that's what I read on their Wombwell site. You had to be driven.
That's where I got it from. I think. Yeah, but yeah, obviously wishing all the best to the player involved for a speedy recovery there as well.
Because you don't expect that when you come out playing football on a Saturday afternoon, do you? Last thing you want.
Yeah. Just looking elsewhere in Division 1, Horbury keep going strong, 4-1 at Allersley Recreation.
Good win is that as well, because Athersley have been going well. So yeah, that's a good win is that, and they obviously won in midweek as well, didn't they? Both teams did. Both Athersley and Horbury won in midweek.
Yeah. So sat at the top of the table, and Durnan District doing pretty well close behind, aren't they?
Yeah, looking good at the minute, Durnan District.
Have you seen them much, Adam, this season?
Not a Durnan District, no, but I know we've got our former assistant, Zeph Thomas, and Liam King as well, who's very good experienced central midfielder. We've brought him in from us as well, so add to that what we've already got, which is a very strong side, and I think they'll be right up there come end of season. It's kind of one of them, if kind of Horbury or Wombwell slip up, you feel like Durn's right there to punish any mistakes.
Yeah, it was a good win for Harrogate Railway at Brig, because Brig are on the fringes of the playoffs, aren't they? Glass out and winning at Thorn. Maltby Main, good win against Worsborough Bridge.
Yeah, they've picked up a bit Maltby as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, they've got Ash Flynn, haven't they? Who's scores goals for fun, doesn't he? It's certainly at League One level.
Yeah.
I see one well won on the Friday night, didn't they? Away at Nostell 4-0. So that was a good win for Wombwell on the Friday night.
Yeah. South Leeds 4-1 against Yorkshire Amateur. Yorkshire Amateur had looked if they were improving a bit, but got a good beating at South Leeds, and I think South Leeds then went and won midweek as well, didn't they? Yeah, 6-3 at Swallow Nest.
Another team who started the season quite well, Swallow Nest, didn't they?
Yeah, they have. Yeah. I'm looking at the table: Horbury, Durnan District, Wombwell, Maltby, Allersley, Ilkley, Briggs, South Leeds, Selby, Shelley, Wakefield. I mean, one sort of certainly I think has gone under the radar a bit. Ilkley Town, they've been picking up some decent results.
Yeah, they look a good team, Ilkley. They played real well when I saw them against Shelley. They played real nice football. They try and play it kind of, on the floor, and they look like they'll be a decent team this year.
Yeah, but then a surprise. So that shows how good Athersley have done this season, improved, because they're beaten midweek. They're the real surprise package for me. That's a real improvement on the last couple of seasons that I've seen them. Athersley really
Definitely.
doing well.
They're up to 5th place, 25 points from 13. So moving into the Premier Division, going to Saturday. And well, as well, looking at midweek, there's been 2 defeats for Penistone Church this week, which is a bit of a surprise. Tadcaster Albion on Saturday, and then the big one losing against Thackley. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, they've hit a bump in the road at the moment, haven't they? Definitely, but
yeah.
still
After
a long
I
way
said
to go.
last week, I thought they were good for the title. They've lost twice.
What's your fault, then, Richard? We'll blame you. Commentator's curse, as they say.
Yeah.
So, but there's a long way to go in the season yet. There'll be a lot of ups and downs, I would imagine.
Yeah, Thackley looking very impressive, aren't they?
I was going to say, if they win the games in hand, they can go top as well. So, yeah, it's not like I say, it's not a bad. Well, I'd say it's not a bad defeat. It's yeah, kind of one of them that you look back on it end of the season, it'll be like we're always going to be a tough game at Thackley, and then Tadcaster as well. They're kind of a bit hit and miss, so we kind of look like one of them teams when they're on it, they're really good, and when they're not performing as well. But yeah, they must have played well to beat Penistone.
Yeah, the result of the day for me in the Premier though was Albion Sports going to Hallam and beating Hallam 4-1.
That's a great result.
And then in midweek, Albion went to Parkgate and won 3-1. So that's 2 outstanding results, really.
Yeah, Parkgate have been banging form the last couple of weeks as well, haven't they? Yeah,
they have
really
Ross
are
Duggan.
going well, Albion.
I'm going to say they beat Thackley on Saturday as well, so shows how they're doing.
Yeah, so Albion to go there to Parkgate on Tuesday night and beat them as well. Yeah, 2 great results on the road. On the road, it's it's good as that.
How was your game on Saturday, Bob?
Well, yeah, I thought you'd get to me. Well, actually, we had 4 new players on Saturday making their debuts. New keeper, 2 defence, and I know we lost 3-0, but 1-0, first goal, but it was scored about 14, 15 minutes. It was what I'd call a bit of a melee in the box. I thought our keeper was sort of boxed in, and there was a melee, and the ball, and they put the ball in the net, 1-0, and then up to the 80th minute, I thought it was pretty even. That we made a couple of changes. Had to reorganise. Took a defender off, reorganised, and then they scored in the 81st. And then, because we were chasing the game, because obviously we wanted to get one more, being a point, but we were chasing the game, left ourselves open at the back, and got 2 more goals. So it was 3-0, but maybe 1 or 2-0, but 3, yeah. But we go on. We go on. We're trying to reen on Jamie, trying to bring some new players in, and hopefully we live in hope as we go along. And hope for better performances and results going forward.
Barton are becoming a bit of the draw specialists in the league. 6 draws now this season so far. 1-1 against Winterton Rangers on Saturday. Winterton got in front, and then got behind the ball, very organised. Barton huffed and puffed, made a few opportunities. Didn't look as if the equaliser was going to come, and they got it in the dying second. They certainly deserved a point, but it's bad luck on Winterton, who have defended superbly. And then they followed it up by beating Beverley 1-0 on Wednesday night. So Winterton showing encouraging signs.
Yeah. Well, you said last week on the podcast that Winterton, when they come to Barton, it'll be a tough game. You predicted that, didn't you, and Aaron? And you was right.
I mean, Barton weren't good. It was a disappointing display, I would say, from Barton on Saturday.
Good crowd, though. Good crowd. I say the crowd was 270. Good crowd.
Yeah.
No doubt.
The North East Lincolnshire Classico.
Yeah.
But then Barton chalk and cheese much better on Tuesday night at Hallam. They go 1-0 down, get the equaliser just before half time, and then kicking downhill second half. The ball was rarely out of Hallam's half until the 90th minute when Hallam break. When you're thinking, well, I'll be disappointed with a point for Barton Little, and the Hallam breakaway score go 2-1 up, and you think, oh, they're going to get no points. But with the last kick of the match, similar to Saturday, they got the equaliser for a deserved 2-2 draw. What about Rosington, Adam?
Yeah, Saturday we had a 2-3 defeat at home to Handsworth. To be fair, they're going pretty well at the minute. They look a good team this year. I mean, I wasn't there, but it looks like it was literally last kick of game in that match as well, which is a bit gutting. But yeah, it's been an interesting few weeks. Like I say, Greg Young coming in as interim boss after Ben Hunter left. It's had a mix of results, to be fair. It's had a fair few 4-1s going, some Rozzo's way, some against him. And yeah, it's interesting time at Rozzo at the minute. It's kind of feels like a bit of a transition time at the minute.
I was going to say, has there been many changes to the playing personnel since the change of manager?
Not really, to be honest with you. We have Liam King leave to Durham District, but apart from that, it's mainly the same squad who were playing. I mean, Greg obviously played the last few years. He's not played yet this season, so yeah, the squad in itself's not really changed that much. But to be fair, they started quite well. We had 2 4-1 wins. I think it was Pickering and Parkgate, and then a 4-1 loss to Hallam, I believe, and then this loss of the weekend. So yeah, it's I think it'll take a bit of time, but I think they'll get there eventually.
I'm just looking elsewhere. Beverley Town lost at Winterton during the week, but they beat Knaresborough on Saturday, so they're starting to find the feet now in the Premier Division. Eccleshill, good win for them, beating Frickley. Because I think it's the best Frickley team there's been for a few seasons. Pickering 3-1 against Campions, but Campion struggling this season. I know they played a lot of cup games. What's people's thoughts on Campion?
Looks like they've got
games now, don't they?
Yeah. And they've done really well in those cup ties. Really well.
But they've only played 7 in league, so they're sort of lagging behind on the matches compared to other teams, aren't they? So they have games in hand.
And looking at the late goals, 90th minute winner for Silsden against Goldcote. So Silsden keeping tabs on the leaders.
Big game at the top, that as well, because we're both kind of around each other, them two teams as well.
That's right, yeah. Just quickly looking at the top of the table. Penistone, 25 points 13 games, Albion 22-12, Fackley 22-11, Golka 21-10, Silson 21-11, and Handsworth 19-11 from 11. It's pretty tight, isn't it? I'm quite surprised that Hallam have just dropped away a little bit. I was expecting more of them this season, and they might come again. And I was slightly disappointed with them on Tuesday. Well, not disappointed because of the way the game went, but I thought they were a better side than what they showed when I saw them on Tuesday night.
Talking about games in hand as well, though, Golker obviously have 3 on Penistone. If they won their games in hand, they'd be top, even above Thackley and Albion if they won theirs. Do you know what I mean? It's all to play for at the top, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like being one of the we'll see. It looks like being one of the closest races for quite some time.
Because Golka are just steadily going about their business this season, aren't they? We haven't really talked about them a lot. They're not featured much, but they just keep it ticking away and on the cusp of things. It depends on what they do with those games in hand.
Yeah, and they've got since they came up, they've just improved a bit every season. They just, like you say, they are moving along really nicely.
I was impressed with him watching the first game of the season actually against Penistone, and they beat them 4-1. And like I say, they look a good team. They're a tough team to break down by the look of it. But so I think I think they'll be around about that position come end of the season.
Parkgate 6, haven't any draws yet. Parkgate 6 wins, so they're just tucked away in 8th. Tadcaster 9, Rosington 10, Eccleshill 11, Pickering 12th, Barton 13th, Frickley 14th, Beverley 15th, Bottisford 16th, Knaresborough, surprised to see Knaresborough 17th. So there's not much between the teams, is there, from sort of like 8th right down to the bottom? There's not much. It's pretty tight, isn't it, there?
Yeah, we've all played a mixture.
10th to 19th. Oh, sorry, Adam.
No, I'm going to say there's a mixture, a different amount of games played as well. There's a lot who's got like someone's played 9, 10, 11, 12 in that mix. So, like I say, win it's going to be interesting that if the teams who's got game in hands win them, if it's an interesting mix.
A goal at the bottom, it just continues to amaze me, having seen them play at Barton, how they did.
Well, we're hoping for better days, Richard. I'll say the performance, it was an improved performance last week. But as you know, we're trying to sort of reshape, rebuild the team because some players have left. Because when you're struggling, players come and go, and we're trying to strengthen the team. But when it's not like pre-season, you've got to do it while you're playing every game and hope. I say we're at Eccleshill on Saturday away, so we go in hope and that we can get a result, to get some points on the board. If that's what we need.
I think the other thing as well to back that up what you're saying there, Bobby, as well is with these games being 2 games a week, you haven't got that midweek training where you can do 2 or 3 training sessions and work on getting that chemistry and gelling together because the games are coming thick and fast at the moment for everyone, so you don't really have that time to bed new players in. You've got to hit the ground running, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, this week on Tuesday, our game was off. It was waterlogged, and it rained cats and dogs here for about 24, 36 hours. So there was always a good chance because our ground is got good drainage, but the rain was unbelievable on Monday and Tuesday. So I think even the ducks were sheltering in Goole that day. So it was off, unfortunately. So I don't know if the guy did training that night or what, because you see, to get training, you've got to book in advance somewhere, So they're probably hopeful they're training tonight, But it was disappointing.
Have you got any more clarity yet on what's going to happen when your groundwork is being done?
No, we haven't. We haven't as yet. You probably hear that there's semi-professional rugby league coming to Goole, and the Goole Vikings are doing a semi-professional team next year. They launched that on Tuesday. But starting the renovations, we've still not heard anything. Well, I haven't at the moment, and I don't think Alan, our chairman, had up to last weekend. We're still waiting to hear because obviously we want to continue playing at Goole, and they're going to be putting, as I understand it, porter cabins in other temporary facilities so we can continue playing. So there's a lot to do before they can start sort of knocking the main stands down to put these temporary facilities in place, And so once I know some more news, I'll be able to tell you. But at the moment, we've not heard anything. Nothing's been confirmed.
If we're looking at a team of the week, what do you think for team of the week?
Well, I've got my team of the week, Richard. I've got my team of the week, Albion Sports. I mean, because as I said previously, to go to Hallam and Parkgate and win 4-1 and 3-1, and then this afternoon I was just having a look at what if they're on a bit of a run, and they are actually. They're unbeaten since the 24th of August. 9 matches they've gone through, including the Vars, but 8 league matches. They picked up 20 points. They've had 6 wins, 2 draws. So they're really on a roll, is Albion, and if they keep on like that, that's championship form, isn't it? Really,
Certainly is. Yeah.
Something.
You, Adam, what would your thoughts be of team of the week?
I've gone with South Leeds. I think they've kind of slowly dropped a few places in the league towards kind of up the bottom few. Then we had we had 2 big wins. We had a 4-1 win against Yorkshire Amateur, and then it was a 6-3 win against Swallownest as well. So 2 big wins there, 10 goals in 2 games as well, and crept a few places up the table as well. So South Leeds for me.
About you, Si?
I think I'm going for a similar story to Bob, but in a different division. And I think Horbury, and I know my fellow Wakefield fans probably think of some sort of splitter giving it to Horbury on this one because they're our local rivals. But in terms of beating 2 impressive sides, they've done that this week and gone top of the table. And looking at their defence this season, they've only conceded 7 goals. You look way above the rest of the division. So yeah, they're looking really good at the moment. And the 2 teams that they beat this season are 2 in-form sides in Athersley and Brigg. So yeah, I've got to give Horbury the nod this week.
I wrote 2 down earlier. One was Albion Sports and the other was Horbury.
Well, there you go.
So
we'll give it to South Leeds then.
yes.
That's worrying, is that because we're playing them on Saturday, so I'm a bit worried now that Adam's given them a bit of a boost. So yeah, hopefully we can do
better more joint winners then this week. Give it joint to Horbury and Albion Sports.
Yeah,
and the referee at the Selby game for individual performance for entertainment factor alone.
Yeah, I see. On Albion Sports, it's coming out on Friday night though. They're at home to Penistone, so that is a top of the table clash, that isn't it?
That's tasty.
First versus second, I think.
Yeah, that'd be a cracking game. That
it is indeed.
Yeah. So that should be on a Friday night. See, that should be a good game.
Yeah. Who have you got on Saturday, Bob?
We're away to Eccles Hill.
Yes, you said, yeah.
So we go in hope, but it's the hope that kills you sometimes.
That's right. Yeah.
But we no. I think we might have some more new players on Saturday, so we'll see. But I think at the moment, Goole, he could score as we're work in progress. We probably know more in about 2 or 3 weeks when we can get settled down. Because to bring new players in, you've got to bed them in, and it's not easy. It's not easy. But Rian and Jamie, they're working hard all the time, to try and bring these players in to improve performance.
No better time than Saturday, though.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. It'd be very welcome, Si. Very welcome.
Are you going to that one then? Because it's a trip over 62 to so it's like is it north of Bradford, Eccles Hill? I think.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have to drive. My mate drives. Darren drives. So, but we take kit, cones, whatever, everything you need, sort of thing. So as well, so we've got to go. We might not be playing any kit.
Right, they've got Parkgate at home. That'll be a tough test. Beverley against Hallam will probably be quite a good game, I would think. There's another North East Lincolnshire derby. Bottisford against Winterton. That'll be a good one.
Yeah.
With Rosington got Adam.
We've got Tadcaster at home.
Golka going to Frickley. Thackley going to Pickering. What's coming up for you, Si?
We've got South Leeds, so it's my first visit there, so I'm looking forward to that one. South Leeds Stadium. I think did you do a video from there recently, Adam?
Yeah, I did. It's
it's
kind of all in one big stand. I liked it, to be fair. You don't feel it's got the athletics track, but you don't kind of feel too far away from pitch. You're kind of still on top of it quite well. So
that's good. That was kind of my worry that you like, because I've been to ones before where you're quite away from the pitch when they've got a running track, but that's not so bad then if that's the case.
Yeah, it's quite a steep stand, so you've got quite a good view, like I say, and you're covered from elements as well, which is always nice in non-league. So.
One of our fans who's been there before said it was quite cold though, even in summer, so could be a day to wrap up for it on Saturday.
Looking at Division 1 fixtures, Brigg and Ilkley looks quite a good tie. Just two teams just on the fringes of the top of the table.
I thought that was the tie of the day.
Yeah, a good derby. Amthorpe and Maltby. That'll be a good derby,
aren't they? Yeah.
Club Thorn, they're playing. Yeah, Club Thorn are playing Horbury. That'll be because Club Thorn are doing quite well for their first season, so that'll be a test for them against Horbury.
Yeah.
They're a bit. They've done some all right. They're down in 8 teams. They're a bit hit and miss, aren't they? Sometimes Thorn, but they looked all right. Obviously, beating us earlier in the season to kick off the season, so they can do it. But yeah, they've had some rocky patches already, haven't they?
But Horbury might bring the best out of them.
Indeed.
Did I ask you about your midweek game, Si? I think I missed that, didn't I?
It was a win. It's a win, which is great. It was a bit of an iffy game. It wasn't a great performance, but 3 points is 3 points, especially where we are at the moment. Yeah, we beat Shelley at home. Just needing to, the thing is when you're aiming for a high position, as we are this season, and then when you're sat in mid-table, every game's a big game. There's no sort of ones where you think, it's an easy one or something like that. They're all big games because everyone gives, everyone always wants to try and take you down a peg as well. So yeah, everyone puts up a good battle. But no, it was an okay game. We came out with a 3-1 win, so happy with that.
Just going back to Club Thorn, what I was going to say was they was winning 1-0 at half time in the midweek at Harrogate, and then it was abandoned due to floodlight failure. That was unlucky on Club Thorn when they was winning at Harrogate.
The clock's just about beaten us, so all it remains is for me to say enjoy your NCEL football this weekend, and we'll be back next week to talk about it all.